Rob and Judy, there was a lot of gunfire at this scene. More than 50 shots were fired based on the number of evidence markers.
The story of Gabryel "Gabby" Ayers was a 24-year-old mother has touched so many hearts. This story has moved countless people, not just in Chicago, but across the country. What shocked many wasn't only that she was shot nearly 100 times, but that her 14-month-old baby was also in the back seat during the attack. Some of y'all Chicago gangs, what's happened to y'all? Killing women and kids. Back then, gangs were protecting women, and there were even street rules to protecting kids. Then it shifted to killing the ops. Not only that, it's moved again to dissing dead ops. After dissing the ops, they savage reinvented again to then peeing on ops' grave. After they decide that was not enough, ruthless, then move to the point of shooting even the funerals so the mourners can't bury the loved ones. But now, killing women and kids, it's really out of line. Let's make assumptions that individual is an op, picking kids from school, killing that person like we've seen with this young, innocent, beautiful woman whose name, Gabryel "Gabby" Ayers. This story somehow reminds me of Ambriana Collins, well known in the streets of Southside Chicago as a Chicago backdoor queen, and also this story remind me of Jaro City Booby. Both were killed in saddest way, especially as women with kids trying to make it in life based on rumors in the streets, which always spread like virus. It looks like we can't be collecting kids from daycare center or bury our loved ones no more, because the shooters are hunting women and kids. Gabryel "Gabby" Ayers was a 24-year-old mother. Gabby was just 24 years old. She wasn't in the streets looking for problems. She wasn't carrying a weapon. She posed no threat to anyone. After graduating from CVS, she was working towards starting her own salon business to provide for her 14-month-old baby, and dreamed that her child might grow up to become a leader or even a lawyer one day. Instead, her life was taken in broad daylight in a scene that felt like something out of a nightmare. Her child nearly died as well. Thankfully, the baby was securely strapped into a car seat, holding a lollipop and crying as bullets struck their mother. It was an incredibly tragic day. There were deeper layers to the situation. Her brother, known in Chicago streets as Risky Band, had affiliations with Shorty Mobb, a subset connected to NLMB and Drench Gang. Big Op, a prominent member associated with that set, had reportedly taken on leadership responsibilities while NLMB Cairo was incarcerated on weapons charges. Tensions and territorial disputes intensified during that period. Over time, Big Op, described as a leading figure within No Limit NLMB, was seen feuding with Gabby's brother, Risky Band. That conflict escalated to a dangerous level. The tragedy is complex and painful. Risky Band himself was considered a high-ranking member and alleged shooter connected to the Risky Roads gang, which formed around 2011 and had ties branching from the Four Corner Hustlers, 4CH, and the Black Disciples, BD. As for Gabby, although she was the one killed, her boyfriend was also said to have gang connections, including ties to groups that were in conflict with Shorty Mobb and its associated factions. Whether she was directly involved in any of that or not, those associations and the surrounding street conflicts followed her. In the end, that environment of rivalry and retaliation cost her everything.
A brazen shooting a block from St. Sabina in the middle of 79th Street, leaving one person dead and a second in the hospital. Our Sabrina Franza is there for us. And Sabrina, there was a child in the car that was shot into, correct?
Marie, the baby was in the back seat of this white car that you can see just here on 79th Street. It is right behind this larger vehicle that it later crashed into after the shooting. Two adults were in the car with that child when at least three people walked up and started firing. Incredibly, the baby was not physically hurt, but the entire incident was caught on video, and a CBS viewer sent that video to us. Here you can see at least 3 people run up to the white car with guns in hand. Now, we are not airing the audio in this video, though in it you could hear at least 24 shots fired directly at that white car. After running away, the gunman got into a red Alfa Romeo and fired even more shots into this white car. The viewer who took this video, or sent us the video rather, told us that they are heartbroken and distraught tonight, saying that they were on their way from work when they saw the shooting. A man and a woman, both injured, with a baby they say was holding a lollipop in the back seat, crying. That viewer told us that the child was not injured, thankfully. Both adults taken to the hospital, and the male is expected to be okay. More video from the scene also shows the immediate police response. Officers have marked the many bullet casings on the ground as they try to find the person responsible, people responsible. Now, the other car that you can see here, as we mentioned, the driver of this car was not involved in the shooting, we're told, but also got out of the car and refused medical attention. Just an innocent person, it seems, caught in the middle of all of this. At last check, police have said that the female victim in this case is 26 years old, the male victim 27, and as we mentioned, the male victim is expected to be okay, and the child in this case was also, we're told, not injured. We're live in Auburn, Gresham. Sabrina Franza, CBS
The interior
News.
was littered with broken glass and fragments of metal. Yet the child, strapped securely into a car seat, was spared. Witnesses described seeing the baby crying in shock, clutching a small lollipop surrounded by devastation. That image, an innocent child sitting amid the aftermath of dozens of gunshots, has left an imprint on everyone who saw it. Police have described the attack as targeted and deliberate. Investigators from the Chicago Police Department's Area 2 began canvassing the area immediately, reviewing surveillance footage from nearby homes and businesses, and speaking with witnesses who might have seen the shooters approach or flee. Evidence markers lined the pavement, each one representing a bullet casing, silent testimony to the intensity of the ambush. As of now, no arrests have been announced and the investigation remains ongoing. The tragedy has drawn additional attention because of underlying street tensions. Roughly a month prior to the shooting, Risky Bands had publicly disrespected Big Op, a figure associated with No Limit, through social media. The exchange did not end there. Big Op reportedly responded with remarks aimed directly at Risky Bands and the Risky Roads set. Risky Roads, formed around 2011 with ties to factions connected to the Four Corner Hustlers and the Black Disciples, has built rivalries across different parts of Chicago. There have reportedly been previous attempts on Risky Bands' life, highlighting how volatile those conflicts have become. Within weeks of that online back and forth, tensions escalated. And now, the deadly shooting at 79th and May has left many questioning whether those disputes spilled beyond their intended targets. Authorities have not publicly confirmed motives, but community members are drawing their own painful conclusions. For longtime residents, this incident reflects a troubling shift in the culture of street conflicts. In past decades, there were unwritten codes, lines that were not supposed to be crossed. Women, children, and elders were often considered off-limits. Even among rivals, certain boundaries existed. Today, many feel those boundaries have eroded. The killing of a young mother in the middle of the day with her baby in the car feels like proof of how much has changed. What makes this tragedy even heavier is the ordinary nature of the moment it interrupted. It wasn't late at night. It wasn't in the middle of an altercation caught on camera. It was early afternoon when people were going about their daily responsibilities. A mother was in a car with her child. A routine drive turned into a fatal encounter in seconds. Now, a family is grieving. A child will grow up without a mother. A community is left shaken, replaying the sounds of gunfire and the sight of shattered glass. Questions remain unanswered, suspects remain at large, and the emotional weight of what happened lingers heavily over Auburn Gresham. What began as a normal day ended in irreversible loss. One life taken, one wounded, and one innocent child left to carry the silent memory of a violence no family should ever have to endure. The collision with the SUV only intensified the turmoil of an already violent scene. The driver of the struck vehicle chose not to seek medical attention, but witnessing that level of gunfire in broad daylight is the kind of shock that lingers long after the moment passes. Within minutes, the intersection was flooded with flashing police lights, yellow tape stretching across the block, and stunned residents standing at a distance, trying to understand how their afternoon had unraveled so suddenly. As details began to surface, the situation revealed deeper and more complicated layers. The young woman who lost her life was later identified as the sister of a local rapper known as Risky Bands. In certain neighborhoods and circles, that association carries significance. Risky Bands has ties to Risky Road, an area reportedly involved in long-running rivalries with other groups across the city. Over time, those disputes have played out not only on the streets, but also across social media platforms, where exchanges, insults, and taunts can quickly inflame already fragile tensions. For some observers, that connection immediately raised questions about motive. In environments where affiliations matter and loyalty is everything, relatives of well-known figures can sometimes become vulnerable.
Rob and Judy, there was a lot of gunfire at this scene. More than 50 shots were fired based on the number of evidence markers that we're seeing here on the ground. And we are told that there was a baby in the back seat of the victim's vehicle who fortunately was not hurt. The shooting happening around 1:30 this afternoon near 79th and May Street in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood. Police say a 26-year-old woman and a 27-year-old man were inside a white Chevy sedan when they were hit by gunfire. They then crashed their vehicle into a GMC van. Police say the female victim was shot multiple times and taken in critical condition to Little Company of Mary Hospital, and the male victim, police say, was shot in the buttocks and arm and is in good condition at Christ Hospital. The driver of that van they crashed into refused medical attention. Now, a short time ago, I spoke to the godfather of the woman who was shot, who confirms his goddaughter's infant girl, who was less than a year old, was in the back of the sedan.
And there's a baby in the car. These animals have no value on life. This is nothing to them. They need to clean this city up. They need to. This gangs and the shooting and the killing is just unbelievable.
The fire department confirms that that baby was not hurt. Police say it's unclear what led to the gunfire, and they say no one is in custody at this time. Live in Auburn, Gresham, Eric Hong, ABC 7.
Rivalries and theories lies an undeniable human loss. A young mother's life ended in the middle of the day. A family lost a daughter and a sister. A child will grow up without the presence and guidance of their mother. And a neighborhood already grappling with cycles of violence has been forced to confront another painful chapter. The proximity of the shooting to St. Sabina Church adds a layer of symbolism that has not gone unnoticed. For years, St. Sabina has been recognized as a hub for anti-violence advocacy and community outreach. To have such a brazen attack occur within walking distance of a place so closely associated with peace efforts highlights the deep and ongoing challenges facing the area. Auburn Gresham, like many communities on Chicago's South Side, carries a complex story. It has faced systemic inequalities, economic hardship, and the long-standing effects of territorial disputes. But it is also home to families, small businesses, churches, and neighbors who look out for one another. When violence erupts in the middle of the afternoon, it disrupts more than traffic. It shakes the sense of safety that residents work hard to maintain. As detectives continue reviewing surveillance footage and collecting evidence, no arrests have been announced. Investigators are working to reconstruct the timeline. how the shooters approached, whether there was any pursuit beforehand, how long the gunfire lasted, and what events may have led up to that moment. At 1:25 p.m., each detail matters in determining whether the attack was retaliation, escalation, or part of a broader conflict. Meanwhile, conversations continue both online and within the neighborhood. Law enforcement has urged patience, emphasizing that motive cannot be confirmed without thorough examination of communications, affiliations, and forensic evidence. Until official conclusions are reached, much of the discussion remains speculation, layered over a very real and painful loss. What cannot be debated is the magnitude of the violence. Dozens of shell casings scattered across pavement, a vehicle pierced repeatedly by bullets, a crash in broad daylight, a woman dead, a man wounded, a baby spared by what feels like inches and fate. In the days following the shooting, grief has spread outward. Friends and relatives have expressed sorrow and disbelief on social media, remembering the young woman beyond the circumstances of her death. Community members have openly questioned the reasoning behind firing into a car that contained a child. Even in environments shaped by rivalry, many believe that the presence of an infant should represent an unbreakable boundary. The emotional aftermath extends far beyond the crime scene. Trauma does not fade when sirens quiet down and police tape is removed. It lingers in households where families struggle to explain what happened. It lingers in witnesses who replay the sound of gunfire in their minds. It lingers in a child whose life has been permanently altered, even if the memory of that day never fully forms. The shooting at 79th and May has become another stark reminder of how personal relationships, public disputes, social media exchanges, and long-standing rivalries can intersect with devastating consequences. In communities where reputations and affiliations carry weight, family members are sometimes viewed as extensions of one another, increasing their vulnerability during conflicts. The young woman's connection to risky bands has been widely discussed for that reason. In areas where rivalries are deeply rooted, relatives of prominent figures can become entangled in disputes, whether directly involved or not. It has been suggested that her relationship to her brother may have placed her in a precarious position. At the same time, she was her own individual, navigating her own path. Some sources indicate she had been active on social media, participating in exchanges that included comments about deceased individuals. Within street culture, actions that may seem minor to outsiders can carry significant weight and potentially intensify existing tensions. Still, at the center of all these layers is something painfully simple: a life lost too soon. An ordinary Wednesday transformed into a family's worst nightmare. And a community left waiting for clarity, for accountability, and for the hope that one day tragedies like this will no longer feel like a recurring headline. The young woman's boyfriend is reported to have affiliations with BOG, a street group that, along with Risky Road and several other factions, has been involved in ongoing conflicts across Chicago. When examining these relationships together, it becomes clear that they create a layered and complex network of connections. Gabryel Ayers, the young woman tragically killed in the shooting, was not only the sister of Risky Bands, a figure widely recognized in certain local circles, but she was also connected indirectly to BOG through her boyfriend. In neighborhoods where alliances, loyalty, and affiliations carry significant weight, this combination may have increased her visibility as a potential target. Initially, many observers assumed that the attack was directed solely at her boyfriend. That assumption seemed reasonable given the nature of his affiliations and previous disputes linked to BOG. However, as more details emerged about the attack, questions began to surface about whether Gabryel herself may have been deliberately targeted. Being in the vehicle with her boyfriend placed both of them in immediate danger, particularly given the apparent planning, coordination, and determination exhibited by the assailants. The nature of the shooting, targeted, precise, and relentless, suggested that whoever carried it out intended to inflict maximum damage, and both occupants were clearly within the crosshairs of the attackers. Father Michael Pfleger, the pastor of St. Sabina Church, which is located just steps from the crime scene, spoke about the incident with both sorrow and a sense of urgency. For decades, Pfleger has been a leading voice.
Let me also say this. As long as guns are part of America's wardrobe, as long as it's first line of offense, you manage your spouse, you shoot. Road rage, you shoot. Mad in your school, you shoot. Mad on the street, you shoot. We used to have our mouths, our minds, and if necessary, our hands. But now guns are the first thing we go to. It's part of our love affair in this country of guns. And until we change that, until as long as we have young people who don't love themselves, don't love each other, and don't have opportunities to do something different, we keep hearing about second chances, but we need to have some first chances for our young people in this city and in this country. I also want to say, Mr. Trump talked often about the legal problem in America, the violent problem in America. I want him to talk about the gun problem in America. The guns that are continuing to get easily accessed. I don't care what things we have, what laws we have in Chicago. I can get in my car right now and 15 minutes be in Indiana and get whatever I want and as much as I want. Until we deal with this federally, and until guns outnumber people, we're going to keep meeting like this. We've got to change it. I heard that yesterday somebody else put up a reward, and St. Sabina is putting up a $10,000 reward today. We want to understand, for those that know something, and somebody always knows something. Unfortunately, these folks that go out and shoot and don't care about anybody, children, they brag about it. Somebody knows. Somebody recognizes them. Somebody knows what's going on. Dr. King said, the moment we become silent about things that matter, we begin to die. So to those that know, don't die. Don't be silent. Don't sit back, because if you do, then you are a co-conspirator to everything that they do. And if they shoot here, they're going to shoot anywhere, and they may shoot you. So why don't you become part of the solution and break your silence and tell us what you know. I pray that you get convicted. If you know somebody, and you know who did it, I pray you don't sleep. You can't close your eyes, you can't get rest until you come forward. A mother was killed here. And I'm tired of black women being killed and disappearing in this country. I'm tired of black women being shot in this country. So don't let this continue to happen. Keep remembering that baby is going to raise up and one day have to be told what happened to her mama. And probably have to look at that video one day and see the horror of how it happened. Then have to try to process that.
Residents, local activists, and faith leaders have encouraged anyone with information about the shooting to come forward, emphasizing that silence only allows perpetrators to evade accountability. Religious leaders, including Father Pfleger, have offered prayers not only for the victims and their families, but also for the perpetrators, emphasizing the importance of justice, repentance, and change within the community. Their efforts highlight the dual need for immediate accountability and long-term solutions to break cycles of violence. At the center of this tragedy is the infant who survived the attack. Physically unharmed, the child now faces life without a mother, a devastating loss for any young person. Experts in child development and psychology note that exposure to violent events, even without physical injury, can have long-lasting effects on emotional health and development. Counseling, stable caregiving, and strong familial support are crucial to helping the child navigate the trauma they experienced. While the infant's physical survival is a small mercy, the psychological impact will require ongoing attention and care for years to come. Analysis of footage from the scene and reports from witnesses provide insight into the meticulous nature of the attack. Observers have noted that the gunfire appeared concentrated on the driver's side of the vehicle where Gabryel was seated. Accounts suggest that the assailants approached from a side street with precision, executing a coordinated attack that involved multiple shooters in strategic positions. One individual reportedly fired a Draco-style firearm directly into the car from close range. Another shooter targeted the rear window. A third, positioned across the street, fired from a distance. The organization, focus, and volume of gunfire indicate a deliberate, planned attack rather than a random or impulsive act of violence. From the perspective of street dynamics, the shooting demonstrates a deep awareness of the vehicle's occupants and their positions. Some observers believe the shooters may have followed the car or waited for the most opportune moment to strike, indicating premeditation. The attack appears designed to inflict maximum harm, either as retaliation, intimidation, or a message to rival factions. In certain neighborhoods, sending messages through violence is tragically commonplace, where perception, reputation, and territorial influence often drive decisions as much as personal grievances. It is widely believed that both Gabryel and her boyfriend may have been potential targets due to their affiliations and relationships. In circumstances where multiple individuals connected to rival factions are present together, attackers often do not discriminate, treating both as valid targets. The heavy volume of bullets and the strategic manner in which the gunfire was directed indicate that the assailants intended to ensure the outcome. They displayed a level of coordination and intent that goes far beyond a spontaneous or reactive act. Risky Band's Gabryel's brother has publicly expressed his grief over her death. The loss of a sibling in such violent and senseless circumstances is devastating under any situation, but for someone already entangled in ongoing rivalries, the emotional complexity deepens. Friends and family have reported that he has turned to social media to express his sorrow, while also navigating the tensions that surround his own affiliations and ongoing disputes. His response reflects the profound personal impact of the loss, as well as the broader consequences of violence that intersects with public visibility and street dynamics. Amid all of these layers of context and speculation, the human tragedy remains clear. The vehicle contained a young mother, her boyfriend, and a baby. The sheer number of rounds fired and the proximity of gunfire put all three occupants at extreme risk. The survival of the infant is remarkable, with many describing it as miraculous. Yet physical survival does not erase the trauma experienced. Witnesses recall the baby sitting in the back seat, visibly shocked and clutching a small lollipop, surrounded by the aftermath of chaos and destruction. This incident also underscores the intersection between social media activity and real-world consequences. Gabryel's online presence, including engagement in diss tracks, exchanges, and comments directed at deceased individuals, may have increased her visibility within rival factions, thereby heightening her vulnerability. In certain communities, online interactions carry tangible weight, and what may appear trivial or performative to outsiders can escalate into serious real-world conflict. The shooting at 79th and May highlights the potential for rapid escalation when digital activity intersects with long-standing street dynamics. Despite the complex web of potential motives, affiliations, and rivalries, the essence of the tragedy is stark and undeniable. A young mother lost her life, a man sustained serious injuries, an infant experienced trauma that will leave a permanent imprint. Motives may provide context, but they do not diminish the human cost. The family grieves, the community mourns. The neighborhood is reminded once again of the harsh realities of gun violence. Law enforcement continues to investigate. Detectives are reviewing video footage, interviewing witnesses, and attempting to establish the sequence of events leading up to the shooting. Identifying the perpetrators and determining motive remain high priorities. Authorities have stressed the importance of public cooperation. While speculation and online commentary continue, investigators emphasize that only careful analysis of evidence will lead to accountability. For Auburn Gresham, the loss of Gabryel Ayers is a painful illustration of how fragile life can be. Families, neighbors, and community leaders grapple with grief, fear, and the ongoing consequences of gun violence. Support efforts for the surviving child and family have been mobilized through prayers, donations, and counseling programs offered by local organizations and faith-based groups. The tragedy surrounding the death of Gabryel Ayers has reignited urgent calls for broader change throughout the community and beyond. People who work closely with neighborhoods affected by violence are emphasizing the need for concrete solutions to prevent such heartbreaking events in the future. They point to the importance of programs specifically designed for youth, including safe spaces for recreation, mentorship opportunities, and educational support that can provide alternatives to life on the streets. These programs are seen not just as activities, but as lifelines that can help young people avoid being drawn into gangs or criminal activity. Alongside youth programs, advocates are calling for stronger social services to support families facing economic hardship, trauma, or unsafe living conditions. Social workers, counselors, and community organizations play a critical role in ensuring that families are connected to resources that can help them navigate challenges before they escalate into violence. Preventing gang recruitment is another major priority, as many experts believe that stopping young people from becoming involved in organized crime is essential to reducing the cycle of retaliation and shootings that plague neighborhoods like Auburn Gresham. While law enforcement continues to investigate the shooting and work to identify and apprehend those responsible, community leaders stress that policing alone cannot prevent tragedies of this magnitude. Long-term solutions require a combination of community engagement, social programs, and sustained support for families. Leaders in the area have repeatedly stated that reducing gun violence is not just about arrests. It is about building trust, providing alternatives, and addressing the systemic issues that allow violence to persist. Amid the heartbreak and the ongoing grief, the community continues to honor Gabryel Ayers for the life she lived and the love she gave. She was a devoted mother, a vibrant and energetic young woman, someone who had hopes and dreams for herself and her child. Her life, tragically cut short, serves as a powerful reminder of the human cost of violence. The surviving infant, though spared from physical harm, represents both heartbreak and hope. This child is now growing up in a world without their mother, but also surrounded by a community determined to protect, support, and care for its most vulnerable members. The infant's survival underscores the importance of family, community, and intervention programs that can ensure children are nurtured even in the wake of trauma. The attackers who carried out this horrific act remain at large, a fact that weighs heavily on families and neighbors alike. Yet, even in the face of fear and uncertainty, the response of the community has been remarkable. Residents have come together to support the grieving family, raise awareness, and call for justice. Local organizations, faith leaders, and volunteers have worked tirelessly to ensure that the tragedy does not go unnoticed, and that the surviving child receives the care and attention they need. This response demonstrates resilience, compassion, and a shared commitment to making the neighborhood a safer place for all. The shooting itself stands as a stark and urgent reminder of the need to address gun violence comprehensively. It shows how personal relationships, family ties, public disputes, and street affiliations can intersect with deadly consequences. It is a cautionary tale of how quickly ordinary life can be shattered by violence, and how easily innocent lives can be affected. Beyond affiliations or motives, this is a human story, a story of love lost, of innocence disrupted, and of communities left to cope with fear, grief, and uncertainty. In Auburn Gresham, the echoes of that violent day may eventually fade, but the impact will endure for years. The grief of the family, the trauma of the surviving child, and the broader community's collective sense of fear and loss are lasting reminders of the vulnerability that exists in neighborhoods affected by ongoing violence. Every element of this tragedy, from the meticulous planning of the attack to the miraculous survival of Gabryel's infant, highlights both the dangers residents face and the urgent need for meaningful interventions. The community's reaction to this tragedy is also a reflection of hope and determination. It underscores that while violence may be pervasive, it does not define the spirit of Auburn Gresham. Families, neighbors, and local organizations are working together to provide emotional support, counseling, and resources to help those directly affected by the shooting. The memory of Gabryel Ayers continues to inspire efforts to create a safer, more supportive environment for children and families. Ultimately, this tragedy emphasizes that gun violence is not simply an individual problem. It is a societal issue with deep roots in systemic inequities, economic hardship, and social instability. Reducing such tragedies requires comprehensive strategies that address both immediate safety concerns and long-term structural challenges that perpetuate cycles of violence. The death of Gabryel Ayers, the survival of her infant, and the trauma endured by the family and community serve as a call to action for all who care about the future of neighborhoods like Auburn Gresham. This story reminds us that every act of violence leaves behind more than statistics. It leaves behind families torn apart, children growing up without parents, and communities struggling to heal. It emphasizes the urgency of creating interventions that prevent violence before it happens and support those left behind when tragedy strikes. Gabryel Ayers' life and death are a powerful testament to the human cost of gun violence and a call for systemic change, community support, and long-term solutions that can save lives and protect the next generation.